Hello everyone, welcome back to Crafts by the Bow. Today I'm making a little fun flap card and it's one that really showcases our DSP. So I like to do some cards where DSP or designer series paper is the main focus rather than the cardstock itself or a lot of stamping. And this is one of those cards. And it's one of those templates that you can use for every occasion. So it is quite a quick card to make, and you may have noticed that I've used some of the new DSP, and this is from the Poppy suite in the catalogue that goes live on the 3rd of January. And I've been trying not to use the new stamps and paper I've got, but today it just got the better of me and I had to use it. So let me show you how I made it and what I used. Now the DSP itself is this DSP. Now let me show you. And it's called Peaceful Poppies, and it has some beautiful designs. And this is the design that I used, but I didn't use it from this set of paper. I'll show you where I got it from in a moment. So it is really nice, and I love that you always get sort of a plainer piece or a less patterned piece on the back, and you can use the backs of them for either your main card or as a coordinating one. So, and I'm really liking this one. Let's just show you. I really like all the little poppies. And you can see that I have been playing with it already, and I've been using this paper. But what you can also use is the small samples of this paper. Now, if you were to join Stampin' Up! In January, one of the gifts you get is going to be this sampler, and it comes with this little mini trimmer. And you can also choose a free stamp set as well. But the sampler that they give you, I think it's 48 sheets, and it's something from quite a few of the suites. See, here's the masculine golfing one. Oh, that's nice. And you get just a few bits from every set that they're showing you here. Now, I took out all the poppy pieces. So let me just get them. Here we go. So I took out all of these. But what I did notice was you do get the same designs in these as in the big pack, but they're in a different order because this is from the big pack. And on the back is this design, but in the sampler pack they've changed it up a little bit and you get the stripes instead. And let me see, what else is there? This purple piece that's got this on the back, I don't know what it is in the big one. Let me get that back and just see. So they've sort of mixed it around a little bit so that you get something of everything. Okay, so that one. Oh, in the big one, it's this blue striped one. And what's this green one on? Let me just... So in the big pack, it's on this one. So you are getting sort of the same papers, but in a different order almost, which I had only just noticed when I was cutting paper up. And as I said, this sample and the little trimmer, which when I got it, I've never had a little trimmer, mini trimmer before. And I thought, oh, that's going to be too small for me. But actually for the little 6x6s, it's just perfect. It's just that perfect size. It's 4 1/4 by 6. And what it would be really good for are scrapbooking when you're cutting photographs and things, or when you're doing labels and you only need a small part of your trimmer. And I love this guillotine effect too. I've never had one of those either. Apart from at school, I remember when I was about 9 or 10, one of the classrooms had a big guillotine with a big wooden handle, I'm sure you wouldn't be allowed it now for some kind of safety reasons, and how we never chopped our fingers off, I really don't know. But I'm quite liking the little trimmer. But I digress. Let's get on with the card. All the sizings and everything will be on my blog, so after you've watched the video, if you need to know sizings, go to my craftsbythebow.blogspot.com and the sizes will be on there. But I've started off with a piece of Poppy Parade card, and it's actually 4 1/4 by 8 1/2, and I've scored it at 3 inches, and this becomes the front flap of the card. I'm just going to fold it over, and then I've got my DSP, and I'm going to attach that to the middle here. And you see it's just 1/4 inch smaller than this, which actually works out to be a normal size card at 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I've only just opened that glue, so it's running quite fast, and I'm trying just to scribble with it. I'm trying not to use much of the glue as it comes out. I actually like those glues when they're about half empty and it's a little bit slower coming out. Okay, so that's that. And then I've got another little piece of DSP for the front. So this was 4 by 5 1/4, and this is 4 by 2 3/4, I think. I say I will put all the sizings on. I'm always worried that I say the wrong sizings and people don't go and check the blog and, you know, I've said the wrong thing and they cut their paper and, oh, that didn't work. What's she doing? Okay, so I'm just popping this on, but I'm lining it up with the edge of the DSP here so that it's fairly level. Okay. So that's going to be our main card. I've got a little bit of glue there. I'm just going to get my little glue eraser, take that off. Otherwise it will stick to the front of the card. Okay, so next I've cut a piece of the Flirty Flamingo, which is the pink that you can see in here. And I cut this one at 3 inches by 8 and I scored it at 4. So it's going to make a little flap that will go on the inside, but also it will fold over to the outside like that. Okay, and I'm actually going to attach it before I start and attach my DSP. So I found when I attached the piece on my original card, I didn't get it quite straight, and then I couldn't take it off because I had all my DSP stuck on it, and I'd already put my sentiment on, but actually that one's better. Okay. Now, so you see how the flap goes. It's just really easy, but it makes quite a nice little wow card. Okay, so I'm going to put this on one side while we do some stamping. And then I've got a little piece, I've got a little piece of Whisper White, and this is what we're going to use for the front of our card. It's going to go, it's going to go in here. Okay, but I'm just going to stamp on it first. Now let me find where I've hidden my stamps. Here they are. So I'm using the Painted Poppies set, and you'll notice that it doesn't actually have any sentiments on. And sometimes I like to buy these sets that don't have sentiments because I've got lots and lots of sentiments already. And sometimes I just want extra pictures or extra images. And this is one of those sets that I've fallen in love with, and it doesn't matter that it doesn't have sentiments. So what I'm going to do is just find a little scrap piece of paper. Okay, let me use this white card and put this on here. I know it's a bit tricky to see white on white, and I'm going to use this stamp here with the one single poppy, and I've already got it mounted up, and I'm just going to stamp it with my Memento Black. And it should just fit. Oh, it's really difficult to see on that, sorry. I'm going to stamp it on here instead. Doesn't matter if it stamps onto the grid paper. That's better. I couldn't quite see the white on white. Okay, so that's it on there. Okay, and I'll just clean that stamp, as we don't need that anymore. But then on a scrap piece of paper, I'm going to stamp my sentiment. Okay, and that's all the stamping for a moment or two. And I'm going to cut this out using the dies that come with the painted poppies. And I'm actually using this one. Oopsie. I'm actually using this one. And I don't know if you can tell from just looking on the camera here. It's got like a double row. It's got where the die actually cuts and then where it's going to deboss. Okay, so I'm just pop that under there. I want my writing to the left hand side a little bit. So what I did was I just put it like that and I ran it through the Big Shot. And I ended up with this. Okay, and now you can see that little sort of embossed or debossed edge there that makes the little label really pop. So I'm going to put that same stamp, and I'm going to put the stamp at the right hand side where I left that space. If you want it to go to the left hand side, then when you put the die on, just make sure that, you know, the writing goes off to the right and you've got space on the left to do your stamped image. I will have to find a little piece of paper to rest on. Excuse me while I just get a piece. Okay, I'm going to get this green because I can see this and it's sort of a tatty piece, so I know I'm not going to use it for the front of a card. I know that it's going to be one that I just use for odds and ends. Okay, I'll move this one, take this piece, and then I'll get my ink back again. And not all of this will fit on to this little sentiment. So I'm aiming just to get the main poppy and this little bud at the right hand side and a little bit of the leaf. Let me just try and line that up. There. Okay, and let me clean that again. That's actually just how I wanted it. So I've got all of the poppy and the bud and the top part of the leaf. I just haven't got any of the stem really on this. I'll put this ink away because we don't need it anymore. And next I'm just going to colour these in. Now, because the card that I chose was Poppy Parade and the, oh, I've got ink on there off my thumb, the Flirty Flamingo, I chose to use the Flirty Flamingo and I picked out this green, which is the Old Olive green. So I just got my blends in those colours and I'm going to very quickly and simply colour them in. I'm just going to use the dark Flirty Flamingo, and there's not a lot of skill to my colouring. I'm really just going over. I'm not worrying if I go over the inked line. That doesn't bother me at all. Now you could do this and you could put lots of shading in, make it, you know, use the light blend and then go over with a little bit of the darker so that you've got lots and lots of shading. But I'm not going to for this card. I'll colour these little bits in. What I am going to do is just go over again with the darker one, just the very middle. And that way it will look a tiny bit darker. Okay, and so I'm not going to use the light. On my first card I used this dark for the leaves, but I'm just going to see what the leaves look like. Oops, I'm going to use the other end. going to see what the leaves look like in the other colour, in the light. Oh, that's fine for me. And again, you could go over and do lots of shading. And see, I'm just roughly going down this line. I'm not doing an awful lot of complicated colouring. And here, where I've gone over, I'm not really worried. I might just go over with the colour lifter, but I'm not too bothered. It's not, you know, not a real work of art, my colouring. I think it's more Jason Pollock or Picasso than Michelangelo, but there you go. Okay. And then where I went over with that little bit of green, if it bothers you, just use your colour lifter, go over a little bit and then leave it, because the colour lifter will continue to work. It's the alcohol that's in there. And then if you want to do a bit more, as it dries a little bit and as it lifts that colour, then just go over. Okay. Now that leaf is, I'm just going to try it with a bit darker. It's a bit lighter than I would have liked. Okay, let me see. And then if I go over with the lighter one. Oh, that's better. That looks a little bit better. You see on this one, if I just go over again with the lighter one, you can see how it sort of, every layer that you put on deepens the colour. That's it though. That's, oh, my lid fell off. That's all the colouring for today. Okay, let's get rid of that. And then we'll go back to this. Now, I have another piece of DSP that is going to go on the front here. And you'll notice that my first one, the lines were going across. Just so happened that the piece I had left, the lines are going to go vertically instead. Just add this. And then I'm going to add this little piece to the inside here so that you've got space to write on, and you know, you can add a sentiment if you wanted to, or I tend to not put sentiments on the inside. I just tend to put my sentiments on the outside and then leave my space so that I can put a nice message. You could as well put a little piece of white card on here if you wanted, so that you've got a little bit more room to write, or another piece here so that you had a written or a stamped sentiment here, and then you've got space here to do your writing. Okay, so that's going to flap over and fold like that. And then our front piece I'm going to put on with dimensionals. And I think this is going to be a really nice little die set for, you know, making a different kind of a shape, almost like a punched shape. And the dies for this set, actually there are two. Come on, let's get you off. There are two of these. One's a bit more like our timeless label shape, but again, it's got that second line, so it's going to emboss or deboss onto there as well. I'm going to enjoy using those. You've probably seen me use them quite a bit as well. Okay, we'll just pop that on there. Now, the set also comes with this 1/4 inch crinkled seam binding ribbon, and it's just in white. and you can see it's all crumpled and crinkled. Now I found that it's quite static, see? So what I did was I pre-tied my bow and I've set it down because, well, when I first made it, look, it's doing it again. It was stuck to my arm, then it was stuck to my cardigan, then it was stuck on my foot because I dropped it on the floor. So it just sticks to everything. And I don't know if that's just mine or if I've had it next to something or it's just the air here in Canada, but it really does stick on everything. So I'm going to let's get my glue dots. Just put a glue dot behind it. Once it's stuck on the card, it's fine, it doesn't jump off, but just tying it took me quite a while. Okay, and you know, you could put this wherever you wanted, but I'm just going to put it right at the bottom of my poppies. Lay down there. And then I'm not going to cut the tails off my ribbon. I actually wanted them quite long, so I tried to get them the same length. There we go. Now for my envelope, I don't have an envelope near me, but what I would do is either stick a little piece of the DSP on the envelope flap, or you could stamp one of the poppies on the front of your envelope. Not sure where I put my envelopes. I had them about 5 minutes ago, or 5 minutes before I started my video, but I can't quite see where I put them. But I probably would go with the DSP on the envelope flap. I do like that look. Okay, so there we are. That's my Wednesday video, and it's just a little double fun fold card. And I'll bring in the first one that I made as well. Whoops. They want to jump up. There we go. So I hope you liked those. I'm not sure I will get a chance to do a video on Sunday, so this is probably my last video before Christmas. So if I don't see you before, have a wonderful Christmas and a very special time with families and friends. And I will see you all again just after Christmas. Thanks ever so much, everybody. Bye-bye.